Hello, everybody. It is day 6 of AFPDFEST. We will be making a video every day about Abomination Fight Pit Deluxe until April 4th, its anniversary. Today we are going to be covering
Training mode.
the 6th character of the cast,
Robocat.
Robocat.
Select the stage.
Now, I will say, generally speaking, Robocat isn't the hardest character to necessarily pick up, but to play with them at a high level is very, very difficult. I have a lot of moving parts to them, and they play at a general disadvantage. But hopefully in the upcoming patch, I think a lot of my issues with the character will be resolved, and it will be a bit stronger. So, Robocat, first and foremost, is the game's primary zoner. Lots of projectiles to keep away the opponents, including air stalling tools to help them land safely. Although many of their kill options will not be at full range, they will have to go in for that. They're nothing to scoff at on offense, but they do lack in a few categories. Now, we'll get into like the basics of the character here. So, general normal walk speeds, kind of similar to Prince Slime. I really appreciate like fine movement like this, especially in this game. I think they have some of the least traction in the game. One air jump, although they do jump pretty high actually. Nothing else really too special going on there. However, there is something that should be noted. If you look at Robocat's hurt box here, you could see it's kind of it's a little fucked up. So their arm, their human man arm, is kind of just sticking out, actually making them what would be a very small character into one that's incredibly wide. And you can even see a part of their hurt boxes here, like their hitbox their hurt boxes get put in like really bad angles that can be really punished. And so it's really, really important to keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of situations where no, you are not safe. Like things that will clip you specifically because you're playing Robocat. It's also just important to note that a lot of your hitboxes they're not amazing. The disjoints are lackluster or generally lack thereof for the most part. But we'll get into ground to move here. So jab here. You got Carpenter Chicken jab from Goodwill. So this move much slower than jab, however, can be used to combo into itself here. As you see, this is probably Robocat's like main tool when the opponent is close. It doesn't do as much damage as Carpenter Chicken's jab, but it is still a pretty useful tool, all things considered, because it does have like a bit more reach. As you can see though, the hitbox isn't really ideal. You can see it barely like extends past the hurt box here. I do believe this is getting changed, but don't take my word for that. So it's not what would seem like it might be a good disjoint. It really isn't. So unfortunately, despite it literally being a poke, it's not a very good move to be using as a poke. It is just good to start your combos, though. You can checkmate your opponents into specific situations, but just keep in mind that this jab is not 100% true at most percents, or at some percent. So characters like Carpenter Chicken, who have really good get-off-me moves, you'll have to be extra careful of here. we have down tilt. This move's pretty interesting because it is actually quite a big disjoint. It's a slow move, similar to a lot of TCC's moves. It has the electricity effect, meaning it's very easy to SDI. However, you can charge it here. It goes all the way up this distance, and it's a really, really big hitbox. So something that may not become apparently obvious about this hitbox, though, is due to the way that it is programmed. If the opponent hits Robocat while they're performing down tilt, the move actually stays out as they're using it, meaning that Robocat's pretty prone to trading with this move, which is great because it's ginormous. It's really huge. Like, even if you're not really like charging it much, like it's still decently big. And then even charging just a little, like its range is just pretty exponential, increase wise. I mean, just gets one extra fucking square with each charge. It's pretty damn good. And finally, for the ground moves here, we will have up tilt. So up tilt has two parts. If you just tap it, you'll get the first part. If you hold it, you'll get the second. So hitbox on this move is a really kind of weird, because it is a little bit of a disjoint, but it displaces Robocat's hurtbox in such a way that it isn't necessarily intuitive to use, although this is a very good move to use on the ground. Just because it's great for scooping people back into these little loops that Robocat does, so like jab, like all of his ground combos really rely around, like, okay, you get the opponent to like 15 or so, and then you're doing jabs, up tilt, jab, up tilt, mix in with a down tilt so they don't SDI correctly, maybe, and then you can get follow up that way. Then go into the second up tilt. This is really to like end your combos and stuff. They have to be pretty close to do this though. Be very careful. Because missing is like, it puts you in a really bad situation. Robocat generally has a pretty tough time landing if the opponent plays around down air. And we'll get to that in a second here. So we're going to go over to these aerials. So I guess we'll start with down air because it is probably the second most important tool when it comes to recovering here. So this move, it's like a little vomit. So it has like 10 projectiles, but only up to 4 of them can hit at once. Beyond that, like, they won't hit anymore. However, it's just a really great move because these are projectile. Well, they are projectiles, so they can get points. It stalls you in the air, and additionally, Robocat lands very poorly in general, so having this move creates just a wall of denial if your opponent doesn't play it right. So they obviously, it can be boinked, but it's hard to boink all 10. Like, eventually you're gonna get clipped by one, and so it doesn't do like the most damage in the world, but it definitely like, unless you hit all the 4 hits of it, doesn't do the most damage. It's still alright. But generally speaking, you are just going to be using this to land. It's just a very good denial tool. We have up air here. This is like your combo tool, so like sending the opponent up is very, very important in Robocat combos. So having like that up there is super, super important for Robocat. The hitbox itself is fine. It could be better. In this specific case, the arm, it's actually a little inconsistent whether or not it's a disjoint or not. Like, as you could see here, at the beginning of the move, it's entirely a disjoint, and then at the end here, it has this horrible, horrible extension, where it basically doubles the length of his hurt box on one side of his body. And what doesn't happen very often, when you get clipped like this, because you like up air poorly or like miss input, it hurts really bad. It feels really bad. The move nonetheless is still very good. You just have to be careful about missing it because it can bite you in the ass a little. Finally, the most important move in Robocat's kit that isn't their special is Nair. So this move in place will just give you a little bit of a a little bit of a disjointed hitbox. It's a little hard to see, but I do believe it's a bit disjointed here. The neutral position one is fine. It doesn't send really anywhere. But as you can see, if I press a direction after using a move, I can go up, down, left, or right, and I can only do it once before I lose the charge here. So if I do this, right, I can kind of bait opponents to like, oh, I nair, and I jump, so like I nair, I jump up, and I nair up, like that. I can kind of prank opponents, like trick them into thinking, oh, you know, like, let me use it down here, and then I actually use my jump and miss input. But like you can do a little mind games with it. Generally speaking, this is also a very good tool because while you only get one per airtime, it is recharged if you either hit the fire dash. So if you hit the move, you can see I get a little flame swirl happen, and that means I can do it again. So you can see by my controls, not working anymore. If I though, now I can use it again because I hit Schlopper. And you can do this as many times as you want, really. Like, as you can see there, I probably could have made that back, but you could do some pretty funky, like, almost like Bayonetta-like combos, albeit it's DI dependent and pretty difficult to hit in general, but it can be incredibly rewarding. The problem is obviously you don't get it back when you are hit, and if you use this off stage poorly, as you could see in some of my attempts there, you're kind of just that's kind of just the game. You kind of just lose the stock, and it really sucks when that happens. So you gotta make sure to use it incredibly sparingly. There's a little technique you can do with it by pressing down in a after the move starts up, but doing left or right variant, you can fast fall down. And you can do this, a lot of moves share this kind of fast falling property. And it can be good for mixing up directions. If you want to follow up with like a low to the ground fire dash like this. So like let's say I do this, I can't really follow up like that, but if I fast fall first here, now I got like a little bit of a little bit more of a follow up I can do thanks to me doing the fast fall. This character is like just a little difficult to string together stuff with, but you can really get stuff going if you like putting in the effort. Now let's get to their pretty much their archetype defining move. Pretty much like this move defines how they play, defines like everything about them, and that is their neutral special. Sorry, I just really want to get this. I'm kind of being weird about that. Okay. Anyway, so this is their neutral special. So it is one special move, and it's multi-directional. You can do it in any direction, as you can see, and it's also in the air. Jumping will cancel it, so if you want to hold your charge on a move, so there, as you can see, there are 5 different projectiles. So each one of these does something very, very different, and while you generally won't use all of them unless you're trying to be funny, they can prove to be very useful. So we'll go just in order. So first you have the bullets. You get 10 of these per stock, and all of the ammos, they don't refill unless you die, and they full refill. So 10 is the max you'll ever get. You can get 5 damage off on each. This is, I pretty much think, like, unarguably Robocat's most important tool because it requires no charge time. It's even good for, like, close-up combo stuff. Like, you can do, like, a couple of mix-ups with that, and of course, with projectiles comes generally kind of easy block stringing stuff, even with a character like Robocat, which will struggle a little bit to get something like amazing off of just hits in general. So any block string stuff he's going to struggle with. But as you can see there, bullets are actually a pretty good combo end in the air. So you can do a couple. So like let's say I hit him with this, and then I'm like, oh, I'm doing my little combo down here. I end with my up air. Pretend I'm like not dropping, but like. So yeah, you're doing your little combos. You hit up here, and then you can actually finish the opponent with neutral special sometimes, depending on the character. And it can be very, very useful. So they're a good neutral tool, they're good offensively, they're even good for recovering, because like I said, if you hit a projectile, and that means any of these projectiles, you get your recovery back. So I can just keep hitting them like this, and then forever basically just keep hovering until I run out of projectiles. So then the second projectile that you can charge is this Molotov. So Molotov has an initial hitbox of the bottle, and then afterwards, the bottle doing 5%, you have this little flame. So this flame is, it's kind of small. Now as you notice, the interesting property about this is that the flame will actually also hit Robocat. I forgot to mention it does have 5 ammo. But it's a decent just wall that you can put up. It's still not the greatest tool, mainly because if you get caught in it, it can actually be negative for you. But you can boink it, as you can see here, and you can get some funny interactions on this. But like obviously, so can the opponent. So generally, an option to be used pretty sparingly. Because as you can see, it's just very difficult to use correctly in space. Oh, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about. I've been using it the whole time, and I didn't talk about it. Robocat actually has a forward tilt. And that's this move right here. This is one of his like huge disjointed moves. It even hits like ledge here, so you can use it as like a completely disjointed ledge option. It's really big, a little slow, but lots and lots of damage, and will get you the kill. So if you don't want to leave the ground, you can kind of hit a little combo like that. And it's a decent finisher. I completely forgot about that. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of blanking there. So anyways, we'll get to the other projectiles here. So then we have Boomerang. This is your second best, if not your best projectile beyond bullets. It's the only other one that even competes with bullets, really. So it'll go around. It will kind of rotate around you, trying to boomerang back to you. And then it will fly off into space. Now it does go through the stage, which is a little jarring at first, but it is very good. As you can see, the damage it does is ridiculous. It does an obscene amount of damage, and so it's very, very, very good for combos. And you can even spike with it if you are really masterful with how you're using it. So it's like it's hard for the opponent to predict, and while some characters can boink it, good fucking luck. Genuinely, it's very difficult to boink consistently, so you're going to have a little trouble finishing it off sometimes. Sorry, you're gonna have a little trouble, boinking the boomerang, and I just don't think it's worth it, just trying to avoid it in general. Fourth projectile here is the javelin. So this move shoots straight forward. hitbox on it is very, very jarring, as you can see. It's like all in the front. And so if it hits them, it'll drag them along. However, you only get 3 ammo, unlike the other 2 that we came across. It gets progressively less ammo, so you have less chances per stock of using the move and capitalizing on it. So you really gotta be careful here. So Javelin can also be used if you put them into the side of the stage or the bottom of the stage. They'll be stuck like this for a bit, and you just get free reign to just kind of wail on them for a bit. And SDI doesn't really work on Javelin, so like they might be able to wiggle a little bit out, but I've never seen a human player escape Javelin after getting thrown into the ground. Like it didn't matter what they tried doing. So it's a decent mix-up tool, although it's mostly for funny pranks. Like it's just it takes so much charge, and the hitbox is pretty bad. Actually, it's not great. It does travel decently fast though, and so it has niche use. And then finally, like none of these are completely useless, but they definitely vary in use. Finally, last projectile we have on here is the lightning bolt. So like, you know, you do your little Robocat combo, and you wanna like, you know, you racked up percent on them, and you wanna finish the game off. You wanna finish their stock off. Well, you might want to go with your lightning strike. So this move does really, really great damage. Has that stun property like some moves do in this game. So easy to DI, but if they get hit by this, they're kind of fucked. It's 25%. There's only 2 ammo per stock, but it's pretty phenomenal when it does hit. The problem is just it's pathetically slow startup. Most characters, there's not really a lot of combos that you can do that will guarantee combo into it. It's just the down tilt, really. But the problem is down tilt, like we established, can be SDI'd, and so there can be some angles that you might have trouble hitting that on. It's pretty strict. A lot of Robocat's things are like deceptively difficult to do because you drop just for a second, or it's like, oh, you're not at the right percent, and so it can really suck. Now, lightning bolt, big reason why I basically never use this is there's this whole animation at the beginning, and then there's this hitbox. So first off, this personally pisses me off. Why doesn't it reach the hole? That has to be a bug, right? There's no way they did that on purpose. I just think it's weird. I feel like it's a bug. But it still reaches really far. Obviously, it's a huge disjoint, and it falls with you. It's really interesting. Like, as you could see, after you use it, it will, like, you could do, like, kind of these falling lightning bolts. It's really cool, actually. Now, unfortunately, you can't jump while charging it. So, if you use it in the air, that's the only real time you're going to get any movement out of it. So you can drift left, right, or down. And it goes great damage. In doubles, I can imagine it hitting like a lot and being beneficial. I think in general this character would be good in theoretical doubles, but that is going to be for another video. That's pretty much Robocat's main moveset. So we go into talking about meta now. So I think mainly Robocat's going to start off matches playing pretty safe. I think a lot of their game plan is going to mainly revolve around them getting into a safe position with bullets into combos and stuff like that. Boomerang really going to help them out. The primary ones you're going to see being used is bullet and boomerang. If the Robocat player is serious, I think it's bullet and boomerang. And then sometimes like a a javelin, sometimes a Molotov, sometimes a lightning bolt. I think the second most used one was Molotov. Molotov was amazing, and then they reworked it recently, and now it's not so good. But I'm sure it just needs a few tweaks, and we'll get there again. So beyond projectiles, spacing is really important, obviously, just because of how Robocat has this weird like hurt box thing going on. I will note something actually kind of interesting here. As you can see, as you charge, your hitbox gets very drastically different here. So, Robocat loses the they lose the hitbox on their arm here, which is great, but their actual hurtbox becomes like genuinely twice as big. Which sucks for like the main move they're going to be using for zoning. I'm sure like it's probably like fine in practice. It like doesn't need to be necessarily tweaked or anything, but it's just like, man, like looking at the hurt boxes and stuff of Robocat, it feels bad sometimes knowing like the hell this character goes through. I did want to note also, by the way, so I did say briefly for a moment that Fire Dash can go down. It is important to note in the current patch of the game, I think this is the only move in the game this is negative on hit. If you down Fire Dash into the ground, it's negative on hit. You are vulnerable. Most characters can do stuff about this. I'm pretty sure. I just never recommend doing this. You generally have better options. I think that's also going to be fixed, but in the meantime, yeah, I would not recommend doing that. Lastly, just oh, excuse me. With recovering, using Fire Dash sparingly, mixing up opponents with it. Very, very important to make sure you live. Air dashing is going to be your friend here for sure, although your approaches are just going to be generally different. Unlike most characters in this game, Robocat's a very grounded creature, and a lot of his approaches are going to be from afar, or on the ground, trying to get cheeky with like the idea that, oh, at any time if I'm approaching you, I can just bullet, and you're forced to block this. Because there's no other option you have that really can react in a timely manner. So yeah, hardest part about Robocat is basically just keeping this advantage state, because a lot of characters just have so many ways of getting past Robocat because all of his projectiles are blinkable. And also keep in mind that since Robocat has limited ammo, you know, if you don't use it well, you might as well just be trading stocks. Like, I genuinely think if Robocat has 0 bullets and 0 boomerangs, you get as much use out of that stock, generally speaking, if you were to just SD. Like, I don't think, if you're at the point where you have no projectiles, you're playing, like, the worst character in the game times 5. I think, like, Robocat without his good projectiles is, it's like eating a bowl of cereal with no milk, except the cereal is also rusty nails. It's, you're getting nothing out of it. It kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I just think you really, like, if you get into that situation, I wouldn't actually recommend the SD, but you basically are playing incredibly defensively. You don't have many burst options, so you're basically just all doing reads. You're just doing read gameplay. I'm not the best with this character. I still, you know, it took me a while to, quote-unquote, like, unlock Carpenter Chicken, and I think I'm still not there with a good portion of the cast, just because I play everyone. I document a lot of the information about this game. A large majority of all of the things that we know comes from me. So obviously, I'm not going to say I know every character to this degree. everything that I say in these videos is like take with a ginormous grain of salt. This could all change in the snap of a finger. I could be wrong, and we discovered this brand new technique. Um, but I like giving my opinion because, I'd rather have someone who plays this game and tests this game a lot than have no one at all tell you anything about this game and learning it completely on your own. I do think that's pretty much all I have to say about Robocat, though. Not much else. I think that's it with him. And then after that, we just have Schlopperbot, and then we're done with all the character guides. Um, that's tomorrow. Schlopperbot's gonna be quite an interesting one to teach. He's got a pretty weird meter mechanic going on. I'm excited to share my knowledge about that and his game plan. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all later.